In this video, we're going to pimp up your Powershell terminal. Now, I'm happy to admit that I'm a command line enthusiast or geek, so I'm always trying new things out. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure I'm going to teach you a few new tips that you don't know about, how you can either update your theme or install some new plugins so you can terminal like a boss. For those of you new to this channel, my name is John. I do weekly YouTube videos on web development and productivity. If you like what you're watching, hit the subscribe button now. This is what we're starting off with, and this is the default theme that comes with Windows Terminal. It's the classic, black and white, pretty boring. Also sort of bugs me that we have this PowerShell text at the top. Doesn't really need it for me. So let's see what we can change. Okay, so in terms of theme and look and style, I'm actually gonna create something custom myself. And as you can see, this is my Visual Studio Code, and this is a theme called Synthwave 84. I really like the color scheme, so I'm gonna try and take this color scheme and apply it to my Windows PowerShell theme. To apply a custom color scheme to our shell, what we're going to do is open up Windows Terminal, click on the little down chevron here and go to settings. This will open up a settings.json file for us. Now, if we scroll right down to the bottom, we can see we have this schemas. When you open yours, it should look like this because I have added all this bits in myself. To create a custom color scheme, what I've done is use a color picker in Visual Studio Code, got the hex codes that I wanted to use. Now the important thing to note in here is we have a name, so you can call this whatever you want. I've called it Synthwave, and as you can see, I've done all the different colors. Now to apply that color scheme to my shell, I do the color scheme, and then I put in Synthwave, which was the name I gave it, and I click save. Now, if I go back to my terminal, you should see that I've got some cool 80s themed colors going on. Okay, I'm starting to like this color scheme. I think things are looking good, but there's definitely a lot more that we can still do. Now, if you are anything like me, I spend the majority of my time in a terminal using Git, so tabbing between repositories and stuff. So it'd be really handy if we could get some sort of Git plugins to make our experience a little bit nicer. So some of the things I'm thinking about is showing the current branch we're in, if it's dirty or clean, if we're behind or below in commits, and we can do that using some PowerShell plugins. Specifically, we can use Oh My Posh and PoshGit. So let's do that now. To install these plugins, we can do it via PowerShell. So what we want to do is a install dash module, and then the first one is PoshGit, and you want to do a scope, and you want to do a current user. Click this, it will take a couple of seconds to install, job done. And then you also want to do a install module Oh My Posh, and then we want to also scope it to the current user. Again, this takes a little while to install, and then we want to do a yes to all, and off it goes and installs it. Okay, so now we have two plugins installed. What do you think is going to happen when we open up a new terminal? Can you have a guess? Oh, yes, absolutely nothing. And that's because we still need to update our Windows PowerShell profile to run these plugins on startup. Now we can do that by doing an echo and a dollar and a profile. As you can see, we have this profile right here, and what I'll do is a code and paste it in my profile. This is going to open it in Visual Studio Code. When your PowerShell profile loads for the first time, it will be empty, so you want to do an import module and then Oh My Posh. Next we want to do an import module, and we want to do PoshGit. Lastly, we want to set our theme, which is a set theme, and we want to do agnostic. There we go. Okay, now that we have our plugins imported, let's see what happens now when we open up a new terminal. Hopefully something good. Cool, so as you can see, we now have some information which is slightly different and things are looking better. Now, things are still not perfect. We've got these weird lines here, and that's because we're missing some glyphs. To fix this missing glyph issue, I'm going to install some new fonts. I'm going to use something called Code. There's another one called Cascader. There's actually another one called Nerd Fonts. There's loads you can pick from. I won't go into it too much, but what we're going to do is go over to our good friend Google. We're going to do a search for Code, and you should be able to find this repo. Now if we go all the way down the bottom, we've got this big download button here, and we're going to quickly download it. Okay, so now that we have the Fira Code font downloaded, let's install it. So click on TTF, we're going to install the Fira Code regular, click on that, open it. Now as I'm hoping you can see, we have a big old install button on the top. Click that. I've got the font installed, so I'm getting an error. You won't get that, so just click OK. Now the other thing which is really important is the actual font name. So this is the setting that we'll need to put within our terminal settings file, so Fira Code. It's not the name of the font file, it's this thing, so remember it, it's important. So we are now back inside settings.json, and we're going to apply our font. This is going to be fun. So what we're going to do is font face and Fira Code. I told you it's important to remember that, I didn't lie to you. Zoom in so you can see what we're doing. Now if I save that and go back to my terminal, if you want to minimize this, go away, hide. Then if I open up my Powershell, what's going to happen? Boom, I hope you can see that. I'll zoom in. No more missing glyphs. Things are looking pretty sweet. Now there's two things which are still bugging me. What's up with this stupid Windows PowerShell text that appears every single time I open a new shell? And if I do an ls, why am I inside this stupid users/user folder? Now I do not have anything there. I actually want this to start in my code folder. So let's fix that now. So back within Visual Studio Code, what I can do is use the starting directory property. And if I do c/code, that should mean that whenever I open a new shell, I'm in the place I care about. And then also in this command line property, I can pass in new logo. So let's minimize that, go back to our shell. Let's see what happens when we open up a new shell. Boom, job done. So we haven't got that stupid PowerShell logo text anymore, and we're in my code folder. So that'll allow me to be a lot more productive now I'm using PowerShell. Nice. When you install Oh My Posh, it will install multiple themes. At the moment I'm using the Agnosta one. However, there is a selection that you can choose from. So I thought I'd quickly show you that. If you go over to the GitHub page, which is jandy Oh My Posh, scroll halfway down, you'll see this page and you can see all the different types of themes which come installed. I really like the Emodipit one. So what I'm going to do quickly is go back to my terminal and I'm going to open up my profile and set the theme to Emodipit. Now if I close this down, open up a new terminal window, hopefully I should get a new theme. Perfect. Okay, so we're back inside our terminal settings, and what we want to do now is install two images. So these two images are randomly down. I am pretty happy with the way things are looking right now. As you can see, the images have loaded. So if we look at the top, we have the green power mushroom. We also have the Mario desktop background. So I think things are looking pretty good. Now if we start typing, you can see that the opacity level is just about right, so we can still see all the text. So I think things in general are pretty good. There is one final tweak that I'd like to make, and that is to change the terminal's opacity. So what's going to happen is when we drag the terminal around, it'll be slightly opaque so you can see the background. Doing this is really simple. We just go back to our settings file, and in here we just go use acrylic mode, and that's true. And then we want to do acrylic opacity. I'll set it to 0.1 so it's really obvious for the effect for you. And when we go back, as you can see straight away, we can see the desktop. Now obviously this isn't that ideal because when I'm typing, I can't really see the text. So what I want to do is go back and then change this to say a 9 to make it, just give us a little bit of an effect, and that's much better. What do you think about my Mario based terminal? Please leave your comments below. I am hoping though that you can agree by adding that theme to my terminal, I've definitely added an extra layer of personality to my desktop. And for me at least, it's that level of personality gives me a more VIP feel. It allows me to feel a little bit more connected to my computer, that it's a bit more custom to me when I'm coding, and it just sparks that level of joy whenever I'm using my computer. If you want to be a legend and you want to do me a solid, then please hit the subscribe button. Hitting subscribe is the easiest way that someone in this universe will think of you as an absolute legend today, and that will be me. If you also want to help me out, hit that like button. It just means that more people will be able to see this content. Otherwise, I hope you have an epic day and happy coding.